Hello, gorgeous people.
We are back. We've been in lieu, we've been missing, but we've got so much amazing content in store. Kicking off with today's juicy topic.
What are we discussing?
We're discussing old versus traditional concepts of relationships, and I guess where we are now in modern society, where we've come, and like especially looking at the lens of women and our experiences.
Amazing. Should we start off with an outfit check?
Sure.
The beautiful Lexi is wearing a Ragamelic dress. She has some beautiful gold Aldo shoes and a stunning Fendi bag. Beautiful, stunning.
Spice is wearing a vintage D-squared top, True Religion shorts, Dolce & Gabbana shoes, which are absolutely stunning. And then we have a vintage Fendi bag, which is just a pick. So let's get into the topic of today. So we've kind of seen this trending a little bit. We've got a kickoff segment which we're going to talk about, but I feel like, I don't know if it's algorithms that have done this to us on TikTok, but we're seeing a lot about gender roles within contemporary relationships and how women are feeling a little, I don't know if it's like shamed for making decisions to be stay-at-home mums or to take on a much more traditional role than what has been created.
Well, I think this kind of modern woman who works a full-time job and has children is a relatively new phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
It hasn't been around that long in history. And it kind of went from women can work to women should work to now women have to work.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with kind of the economic situation that we're in, where it is such a privilege to come from a one income family, you know, like doubling the labor force, meaning now that you need two people in the labor force, you know? And I guess I believe that young women have been lied to be so career driven at 19. And the major issue is that we unfortunately have a biological clock.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have forever to find like the right mate. And I saw this like interesting video of these men, these ethnic men, I think they were Lebanese, and they were saying like, you know, women aren't like their mothers anymore. And I like this comment, and someone said, well, why do you want us to be like our mothers when you're not like our fathers?
Yeah.
Like men don't look after women in the same way that they used to.
Yeah.
So, I think
well, it's the current scene, I guess, where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have had lots of conversations about this. Obviously, we're getting older. We're finding our mates. We're like thinking more long term about being mothers and what that might look like for us. And I think in a way, this whole like girl boss mentality of like absolutely working your ass off is amazing. But then you kind of hit a point where I've hit a point where I'm so stressed out. It's taken such a toll on my body. And then when I think about that, and I honestly just fucking take my hat off to women who can do all of this and have kids and run a house. And I'm just like, if I can't cope now with the level of stress of running a business and things like that, I'm thinking of adding a baby to the mix and a household. And I'm like, thanks. I'm like, I'm struggling to understand how it's all possible. Well, and the pressure also of everything.
Well, now it's created this superwoman syndrome.
Yeah.
I remember I learnt this in a sociology elective at university. Women in Australia averagely have around 15 minutes to themselves.
That's crazy.
Mothers, in Australia, because they go out and work and they come home and they're still doing the majority of the, you know, at-home labour.
Yeah.
It's that women have gone into the workforce and adding to, you know, the economy of the family, I guess the finances of the family, but the at-home labour hasn't decreased.
Yeah.
So it's just added more to their plate. And so this superwoman syndrome has pushed women to have so much pressure to, you know, to be the perfect mom, to be a great worker, to strive in their careers.
The amazing wife.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of commitment
to
as
look
well.
after their kids and their family
House,
and to kill it.
To work.
And they have no time for themselves.
Yeah.
They don't have, it's like, you know, you go up, you wake up, you make breakfast for everyone, you pack their lunches, whatever, you take the kids to school or whatever it is. You work all day and then you come home, you put them into bed, you know, they have a shower, whatever it is. And then by the end of the day, how much time do you have for yourself? And then it's also the emotional labor. Like men, a lot of the time are absent even in their presence when it comes to raising children.
Yeah.
And that's if they haven't left. They could still be around, but they're not doing the emotional labor in raising their children as the same level that women do.
Yeah.
Now, it's also really interesting. This is kind of a side note, but there's all this, I'm not sure who this is, but there's this random girl on TikTok. She's really conservative and she's very annoying. Not because she's conservative, but she's just annoying. And she talks a lot about how women let themselves go and that's why men cheat on them. And it's like,
under those circumstances, like how are you meant to keep everything alive?
Well, it's like when you want to see the best version of a woman, she has time to spend on herself, right? Mm-hmm. So you'll usually see that in a single woman. Yeah. Single women will, they have all the time to like put all of their energy into how they look, obviously amongst other things that they divide their time to. But when you're a mother, and a wife, how much time do you get to divide to like, your appearance or how you, and then even not even just that, like it could just be like when you spend time on self-care, it doesn't have to just be like in a way of like makeup and hair, but you feel good about yourself. You get to,
exercise, reading, expanding your brain, like
you'll get the best part of a woman. But when she's under such a crazy amount of stress, do you expect her to come out in like a pair of Louboutins and like lacy lingerie?
Exactly,
So it's like if you want that side of a woman, then at the bare minimum, fund that shit.
Yeah.
Like pay for it. Take her to get her nails done. Take her to get her hair done. Give her the money, if that's something of great value to you, that you want your woman to look sexy, fund that sexiness. That's an economy for you. You better fund it.
Yeah.
And give her the time and the space to do that.
Yeah.
Pick up the workload. Like statistically, men are just not doing that within the home. Like they're going out and working, they're coming home and they have everything done for them.
Off the back of that woman talking about like men cheating more often because women are letting themselves go, I feel like as women we're constantly running up against like these paradoxes where it's like if I do one thing, this is the catastrophe it'll end up in. If I do the other, this is like we're never kind of allowed to just make decisions for ourselves that aren't either like frowned upon, shamed, like for example the Sunrise segment which we'll play in a sec or today, whatever it is, about women deciding to stay at home and be mums. No matter what we choose, it's like we don't have a choice anymore. It's like if we want to be girl bosses, then we risk being the most amazing and attentive mothers that we can be, and then if we decide that we want to be stay-at-home mums, just look after our babies, all of a sudden that's shamed as being like lazy or submissive or playing into these like typical stereotypes. And it just feels like, for me personally, no matter which way I turn,
there's no winning.
Well,
I was also watching this guy on TikTok. He's a divorce attorney in New York, and he was saying the number one reason that he's seeing that people get divorced is because women are doing it all.
Yeah.
Women are so stressed. Like they're looking after children, they're looking after men, and they're going out and working a full-time job. And obviously it's like the top of luxury that a woman doesn't have to work and a man can look after her. Yeah. But even though when she does that, she's shamed. And it's like being a mum, it used to take a whole community to raise a child. Yeah. Now we're expecting women to do that alongside of working full-time jobs and having the stress of that. Like it's a lot, babe.
Do you think this girl boss era has just kind of like cheated us into this mentality?
100%. And the issue is that we don't have the luxury of time.
Yeah.
Men can really worry about this later in their lives. Women have to think about the partner that they want to procreate with at a particular point in their lives that unfortunately coincides with the career time in your life. Yeah. And I'm not saying that women shouldn't focus on their careers, because even when you find the person, you don't want to be economically fully dependable on a man. Yeah. It's a very dangerous place for a woman to be. So, you always need to have something behind yourself, something small, have some sort of kind of insurance, because men can do that. Like they can leave you. And the issue is also, as women age, not competing with other 30-year-old women, 35-year-old women, you're competing with women in their 20s. Like it's not the same. And so it gets to a point where it's like, okay, women that are getting to their 30s, a lot of men are taken by that time, and then you have to think about it, and it's stress and it's all of these things. So it's like something that this whole girl boss thing was something that really was pushed, especially our generation. And like
definitely I feel like our generation was raised completely different, and it's a paradox of like this freedom of being able to be working women, and it's amazing to run our own businesses and have achieved equality in the workplace in some capacity. But at the same time, like as I'm getting older, I'm just feeling like
But do you know what it's going to turn into? What? So it was that like women could work, and then it's like women should work, women have to work. And it's going to turn into that women will work and men won't.
No way.
Women are becoming the breadwinners more and more, babe. Wow. But they're not getting out of the kitchen. They're becoming the breadwinners while staying in the kitchen. Women are outperforming men in universities. In pretty much all academia, women are outperforming men.
Yeah.
Like women are killing it on that front. And the problem is that a lot of women aren't having kids anymore. And that's fine if you don't want to have children. But for a lot of women, they do want to have children.
Yeah.
And it's like you leave it to this point of like scarcity of like who's around. And at that point, women are hypergamous, meaning that they marry up.
Yeah.
You know, women of high status who have made partner a law firm, I'm not going to marry a bum. Like, it's just not going to happen. Rather, is that bad to say?
I don't know.
Okay, marry like someone who is not of their economic and social status.
Yeah.
Women marry up. Like, that's how it is. Women need to be inspired by their partners. They need to, whatever it is. And at that point, it's like, who's on your level? You're so far up. Yeah. And the men on your level, they're with women that are 25.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like we've made women into men. We've made men into women.
Yeah.
And gender roles are there. And I'm not saying that you should be so defined by them. But they're there for some, they have some merit, let's say. And what are you looking at?
No, I'm just like scrolling on Instagram. Yeah. I think in hetero relationships, especially was what we're talking about, and everything we're talking about is contextual to us. Obviously it doesn't blanket every single experience on the planet before we get everyone like, or some people trolling us.
Oh no, if you want that kind of relation, and a lot of women like that, they like to be the ones who wear the pants, the ones calling the shots. Like that's a lot of people, and that's their dynamic. And a lot of guys are very soft and they like to be in that more submissive
and if
role.
that's what you like, that is what you like. We're not shaming your yum, we're not yucking your yum, whatever the saying
and as
is.
someone who is like quite like a, let's just say I'm quite a dominant person, it's very easy for me to fall into that role, into that place where I'm like, and I hate to be like that.
Yeah.
I love when a guy is so masculine. Because I have a personality that's quite dominant by nature, it's very easy for me to fall into that more masculine kind of position in a relationship.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I liked soft boys. You know, I liked the sweetie, soft type of guys. And then I grew, you know, older. I'm still young, but I realized that that's not a man, that's not a partner for me.
Yeah.
Like I need somebody who sits in his masculine. Like you need a man who's that kind of perfect sweet spot between being a monster so they can keep the real monsters at bay and protect the family, and still being conscientious and like empathetic and a good partner. You know, you need that perfect balance. And when someone is too soft, that whole soft boy thing, like that's not a man who's going to protect you when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very protective person. I've got a wall for my man, for my friends, for anyone. And it wouldn't match for me to be with someone who at least didn't have the strength in their personality to be like that. So when I'm with a man and he's like super dom, super masculine, I become like the sweetest, angelic, feminine person.
It gives you the space to be.
Exactly.
Because otherwise
I'm like angry. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm complaining. I'm like, when I'm in that masculine role, like it's not a good position for me to be in. But if you like that, and like you like that.
Also, like I'm the same as you. I feel most myself when I'm in my total feminine, and I've been in relationships where I feel like the man in the relationship, not just because of the like when I'm dating a man that's my height or like physically feeling like the man in the relationship, but I think emotionally doing that is so tolling. It's like taxing on the soul for me, for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like contemporary society is just a bit muddled at the moment in terms of dating. And I think, well, next topic, talking about, I guess, like stereotypes within relationships when it comes to men and women. There's been a lot of shaming, like women that do things for their men.
Oh, yeah.
Like all over TikTok, there's like new segments on it. A woman whose love language is food, for example, makes her husband a sandwich for work, puts it on TikTok, and you've got half the comments being like, what are you in the 1950s? Like, why are you in the kitchen? Like, your man should be making you food. It's like, you don't know anything beyond the context of this video. Like, we don't know what the relationship is like. Don't tell her she's submissive, that she also has no power. Like,
what's better, that she's like working, you know, to climb that corporate ladder, or she's working to raise a family and look after her man? Like, I don't understand.
Like, why are we shaming either of them?
No, but it's like,
understand, like each woman to their own, and you can't put her in a box saying that she's submissive.
I know, but if you ask me my opinion, I would say growing an amazing family is a much greater value than any sort of corporate thing that you could do. Like you're raising the next generation of children. And as my father says, like this current generation, like I'm sorry to say it, like it's kids that don't fear God. It's kids that I don't know if people are going to come for me for this, but I'm just going to say it. It's kids who you can tell are parentless. Like where are the parents here? Yeah. Where are the like, you know, like the values that are like embedded into these children from a young age. And I'm like, I don't blame the parents because they're out there working. Who's raising these children? Like how many times have you met people in your adult life where you're like, you were raised so well? Yeah. And then how many times have you met people and you're like, okay, well, I don't know who you were raised by, but it was clearly in the trash. Like
we've lost this concept of family, I guess. And
100%.
Parents these days definitely cannot be parents like we were raised. Yeah. We've lost the concept of family. So therefore, if you are a woman who decides to stay home and raise the family, or you're just doing something nice for your partner, it's like this massive shame.
It's like slavery.
It's like, you know, like we're boxed into this submissive, how dare you be a housekeeper? How dare you do things for your man?
But you do it out of pleasure and love.
Exactly. I want to look after my man. Like I make my boyfriend breakfast every single morning. Every single morning I'm there. He'll have his breakfast. He makes me coffee. Like, but it's not, I'm not doing it for this exchange. It's just things like we like doing for each other. But when you only show the female perspective on that, especially on social media, you just get shamed left, right and center. And then you've got half the comments that obviously, I screenshot some the other day and I was reading them.
I think it comes down to, it feels so nice as a woman when you're in that more nurturing role. Yeah,
that's when I feel my most myself.
You look after and it's like really nice and you take care of them and it just feels so good. And I'm sure for men, it feels like crack when you're like looking after a woman, you're protecting her. Yeah. She feels safe around you. Yeah. You pick her up. Like I remember I was seeing a guy and he would always pick me up like if I went out or whatever it is and take me home even though he lived far away from me. I mean, I guess every guy I've seen would do that for me. And I remember I had these friends and they were like, oh my God, it's like slavery. Like he would just like get out of bed, come pick you up at like midnight and then drive you all the way to your house and then go home. And I'm
What's
like,
wrong with doing stuff for people?
It's
crazy.
To me, it's like really sad. It's like, wow, you're so unloved that you think that's such a big thing. Yeah. That's something I would do like, you know, for anyone that I loved, you know, not just a man, my little sister, your sister, your grandma, like it wouldn't even matter. Like anyone who I loved, I would do that for. And it would be out of pleasure, like nothing, but it's such a schlep for people. Like everything is a schlep and it's like slavery. Like, oh my God, you have to waking up to make breakfast for your partner. That's, you know, it's like, it's better that I get it, you know, a couple of hours more sleep or that I like make someone's day and I express my love that way.
Exactly. That's your love language. You like making food. We love nurturing. Like I feel most myself when I'm taking care of other people, especially like my boyfriend. It's definitely me coming into my feminine. It's me thinking about what I'm going to be like as a mother. Like this is the same feeling, this buzz of like nurturing for others just makes me so excited to be a mom. And then, you know, we're going to play this segment in a minute from Australian TV that just, there's like 4 people on a couch shaming this housewife because she made a Facebook post about how much she loves her morning routine of like looking after her family. When did we come to women shaming other women for wanting to be homemakers?
Let's play it because you guys need to see this and we can discuss together.
I want to take you back to the 1950s, or at least that's what I thought when I read this Brisbane mum's Facebook post. Brooke Smith shared her routine online. Here's what she said. I always make sure I don't go to bed until everyone's lunches are packed, their clothes are set out for the next day, including my husband's, and the house is clean, dishwasher is on, and a load of washing is on. I always get up early, 4:30, with my husband to make his breakfast and coffee. Go, Brooke. Whatever. I mean, I tell you what, though, Chris, I mean, a lot of people online are saying, well done, are praising her.
Who? Who are these people? Oh, has he hypnotised her or something? Who does this stuff? Making his breakfast and then putting his clothes out of a night? Is he disabled or something? Like, seriously. So get a grip, get off your bum and do stuff yourself.
So essentially they're mocking a mother for taking pride in looking after her family.
Even like the opening line, like, are we in the 1950s? From women. The fact that it's from women, like, makes me feel so icky. Like, where have we come? We've come
I would hate to be your husband. I would hate you to be my mother. Like, you know, ever since I was younger, people would be like, oh, your mum does everything for you. Like, wow, she does everything for you.
That's a cultural thing though, I reckon.
But it's like, why are we having kids if we're not going to do things for them? I don't understand. Like, it's a part of the love, and that's why I do things for people. It's like a natural thing that you do, and it's a beautiful thing, but it's like become, I don't know.
Yeah. That to me feels dystopian in the sense that like we have women and men on national TV shaming a woman for making her own like liberal decisions to be a homemaker and to be a mum. Like, did we really swing that far? That
the most priceless job you could ever do. Like, arguably ever. Like, there's nothing more rewarding than like raising beautiful children and having an amazing like family unit, and to like talk about it as if it was like disgraceful, like they were talking about something so abhorrent, like
and we don't like well, I think they go on to say something like, well, what's your husband doing? It's like, we don't know what he does, how he provides for the family. Also, imagine being this lady like being called out on national TV,
right?
And you'd be like, hey,
and that thought must be so ubiquitous, like that must be the culture that we live in if it's on national TV, like a lot of people must be thinking this, and that's very sad.
That when you showed me that segment, I was absolutely floored.
And it's like, you know, you hear it in like, I guess this like common thing, you probably see it all over TikTok, of people saying like, I mean, we've even done it, like who pays on the first date. And when people say, oh, you know, it should be 50-50, like this whole, like, don't get me wrong, like the egalitarian way of having equal opportunity is like so important.
But it's totally separate to this.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But then to actually, like, no, but what I'm saying is that like people will shame that idea that a man to, you know, take a woman out and pay for it, which is like bare minimum, honestly. I believe, and I don't know if this is like, wow, crazy, but I mean, if this is, so maybe for women, it's so difficult, like for us to become mothers, right? For men, essentially they have sex and they're a father. Women, like our bodies, what we go through monthly, like even our cycle, like the way we work is definitely centered around the male biology. You know, they have a 24-hour cycle. And for women, you know those days, and you know those days, that part of your cycle when your period's finished and the testosterone goes up and you feel amazing. Yeah. That's how men feel essentially every day.
Yeah.
Right? But our cycle, it's like it goes around. We go from like bloating to feeling fatigued to feeling hungry to feeling sexual to feeling tired, angry, to feeling lethargic. Like our bodies are doing the most all the time, but we have to be like kind of the same thing over and over, like a man is. Yeah. And with this fatigue and with this like we go through so much, and then, you know, not to mention having a child, what that does to our bodies, what that does to, you know, even our hormones. Once we have our child, our estrogen drops so drastically, and it's like that's why we're prone to having things like, you know, postnatal depression. Oh yeah. It's because it's like there's never a time in like the human body where your hormones will fluctuate to that degree. Yeah. And it's like,
I feel that like, I don't know if this, and this is a thing, like I would like to know, my PMS is getting so bad as I'm getting older, and I'm like, probably should look into it because it's very confusing to me. So if there's anyone out there that can give me some guidance on that. But there was a week, like a few weeks ago, where I called Raquel and I was like, I can't function. Like it's this out of body control, and you feel your hormones at play. And my body was riddled with anxiety, but I had nothing to be anxious about. Therefore, I know it, and it was in the lead up to my period. It annihilated me. I couldn't work for like 1 or 2 days, and that's never happened to me. But I can only imagine like women that have that on tap every single period, and then we're still expected to work full time. Like, it just blows my mind. Yeah, in that capacity, and then think about adding that, like being pregnant and having a child.
100%.
Like,
so I think it's like bare minimum that a man provides the space in which we have children. Yeah, right. Like I feel like there's this sob story around men. Some men, well, they think that paying for a date is too much. Yeah. It's like, do you want to have a family? Do you want a woman to look after you? What women provide is essentially priceless. Yeah, you know, we make a house into a home, we look after children, we bear children for you. Yeah, and wild. It's like even the small thing that men had to do, which was provide for the family, you know, to whatever it is, it's like that's too much for them now. And it's like that's something they have to complain about, and like, oh my God, these girls are gold diggers because they want to be looked after. Yeah. Or it's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't know if we'll put this in, but I'm going to say it anyway. Mm-hmm. It's almost like contemporary, I don't know if you call it feminism, but it's being pushed so far that it's almost like there's men puppeteering it to be getting like the most benefits out of it possible. And
I think about it now in today's age, men get to have sexual relations with little to no effort. Yeah. Men don't have to economically support women or families to the same.
They don't feel the necessity to, some men.
Yeah, and watch how this is going to eventuate. Like women are more and more becoming breadwinners. Yeah. So men get the sex, they get to be looked after, or not have this, at least not to have the same pressure that they once did. And what have women gained from this? They've gained, you know, and this is why families are falling apart. It's too much pressure. Yeah. Like it just leads to burnout. And Yeah. I think what's happening right now is the pendulum is swinging the other way.
Yeah.
And more women are realizing like, okay, I'm a partner at a law firm.
Yeah.
I've reached this by working so hard. And at the end of the day, like I don't have the family that I wanted.
Yeah.
And that's the real like anxiety. And I hate to even talk about this because it's probably the one thing that I'm anxious about is the biological clock, right? Because, you know, I want to be a mom. I want to have kids. And I hate, you know, now we're getting married later in life, which is great. You know, the reality is we have a certain window of our lives to have children. So that's why I'm saying be as picky as you can be. Like, don't feel...
When it comes to dating.
Yeah. Be so picky. Don't hold unrealistic standards. Just make sure that man can grow and become like a provider, because you need that. You need someone who's got a provider mentality. Yeah. He doesn't have to be like CEO of a company and like, you know, driving around in a Maserati, but just somebody who has a provider mentality that will step up and look after the family, because that's the person that you need, you know? Yeah. And
it's really interesting that you mentioned burnout, especially for like the girl boss era. And I was watching this TikTok the other day and she was talking about how for her personal anxiety, like living like a softer life, like a more feminine life, has allowed her to just like let go of the anxieties that were literally riddling her body. And I've really felt this, like stress is the biggest cause of any physical ailment I've ever had, and that's genuinely caused by being a business owner and you know, being a girl boss. And recently I've just forced myself to stop stressing. It's so much easier said than done. My stomach issues have literally halved. My acne's gone. I'm like, I can't like this. I am personally, I don't think built for the high level of stress. And I think it is a very, very male ability to take on that amount of stress.
Oh, 100%.
And this idea of a softer life for me is definitely going to be my path forward. Still working my ass off, but just finding ways to lean more into my feminine when it comes to...
I think for me, like I guess in some way, I'm a lady of leisure, but I'm still like, I'm in my girl boss era, you could say.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like getting married and having children, like I'm tapping out.
Yeah.
Like I'm being a mom.
Same.
I'm relishing in being a mom.
Yeah.
I'm, you know, and that's something I make really clear with, you know, potential partners.
Yeah. I think that has to be made very clear. So you don't get to a point where you've fallen in love.
And if any man shames that for you, you know, I was catching an Uber and this Uber driver was an accountant by day and worked as an Uber driver by night. And his wife was, you know, a stay-at-home mom, and he was still talking about how hard her job is and she's left with all the kids. And I was like, wow, what an honourable man.
Yeah.
He gets up doing a 9 to 5 and still works at nighttime to provide for his family. And he still sees that her job is like just as valuable and just as difficult as what he's doing. That's a really good like cooperative type of relationship, you know? It's like we're working together. You've got the house down pat. I'm going to, you know, work twice as hard. And I just feel like that is so honorable. Like talk about a man. Like, wow.
How do you reckon that's shifted over time for homemaking to become this like absolutely shamed thing that isn't hard?
Well,
or do you think it's always been...
It's funny because there's so many like TikTok bros who have podcasts that are like, oh, you know, being a mom is like so easy and you just sit around and then have to go out and work and blah, blah. And it's like, you literally have one thing to do in this whole like having a family process, which is like going out and working.
Yeah, you don't...
And it's like you want to get out of that one. You want to get out of that one. It's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the shift changed when women were, you know, pushed into the workforce and... you know, now that like we need 2 income families, and I think over time, you know, I think it used to be that it was like perceived as like, you know, she doesn't have a university education, she's not that intelligent, she sits at home, you know, whatever it is, like anyone can be a mother type of thing, right? And then now it's become like the ultimate luxury, like she doesn't have to work. Wow. And it's like that shift. But you know, and there are mothers who are amazing and do both. Yeah. Like I've met mothers like that
too.
that work so hard and are incredible mothers. Yeah. And that's amazing. You know, my mum was like that. Like my mum. And it was at the expense of what? Her entire life. Yeah. Like she sacrificed her entire life. And love that for the immigrant story, but some of us don't want to like, you know.
I mean,
like
my mum was a single mum and worked 3 jobs because she didn't have a choice. But I feel like if she had a choice, she would have 100% wanted to be a full-time mum because, I mean, she was still an amazing mum. Like I honestly don't know how she did it. But you ask her now and she said, yeah, if I could have had the choice, I would have 100% had a husband and not worked and just put all my focus into you two, me and my sister.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm just becoming really fed up with like not being able to feel like I can make a choice around my future and not be shamed in some way, shape or form.
Yeah. It's like that episode of Sex and the City when Charlotte quits her job.
Yeah.
Of like running the art gallery.
Yeah.
And then Miranda shames her.
Yeah. Women shaming women, like why are we doing it?
I think because there is like, there is a danger to that, right? Yeah. There is a danger to being so this is kind of like an old trope. It would be like women and men used to really help each other. So women would pick up another job to help their, husband or potential husband to go get through medical school.
Yeah.
And they would work really hard. And then, when he would graduate and they would have children, she would be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
But then you run the risk of that man, once you've helped him reach the point that he's reached, to then leave you for the, 22-year-old secretary at the hospital, and then you're left with nothing. And what a vulnerable and shitty position that is to be in.
I mean, I'm not saying not to economically support yourself, but they're like,
keep something behind you. Keep something behind you. Like do that as like you need a safety net. You need something behind you. You cannot go in like full. I see these girls that are like 20 and they're like the life of a stay-at-home girlfriend. Whatever it is. And it's so nice, isn't it? Like to be provided such an amazing lifestyle. But at the same time, like that can get taken from you like that. And then what do you have?
Yeah.
You're all of a sudden in your late 30s, you're not as like socially as desirable as you once were, and you have nothing behind you. It's a dangerous game to play. But at the same time, I think when you've built, that's why it's really important to be so selective with who you choose.
Yeah. Okay. So on the topic, because obviously like with the way the gender roles have changed, how do you think it's changed chivalry and men's desire to be chivalrous when, I mean, like if they're not really providing, that's like the main.
I think like we've spoken a lot about how you'll see the best out of the woman when she's in her feminine, but you'll see the best out of a man when he's in his masculine.
Yeah.
Like I was speaking to my brother about this, and it's, my brother's a very traditional man. And he was saying like, with this whole like who pays for who type of thing, he's like, it's so funny because there's nothing that feels better than paying for a woman. She wants to get her nails done, you take her to get your nails done. He's like, you feel like a man.
Yeah.
It's like, and he's like, that feeling is addictive. Like when you have a woman who genuinely feels so safe around you, it feels good. When men are in that element, it's a nice feeling. Like men don't want to feel like they're not needed.
Yeah.
They want to feel like their position in your life is really needed and it's desired and it makes a difference. So I feel like, we've spoken a lot about toxic masculinity, but where's like the beautiful masculinity?
Yeah.
Where's the like stepping up? Like the way that I feel when I'm around my dad. Since I was a child, if my dad was home, I always felt safe.
Yeah.
As soon as my dad wasn't there, I heard a sound. I was like, okay, someone's coming here to kill me. So when my dad's presence gave me so much security.
Yeah.
And it's so nice when you're with a man like that.
Yeah.
That it gives you financial security. Yep, everyone's going to have a cry about that one. Physical security, that he protects you. And if something went down, he would be there.
Yeah.
Like the security of having a man there, or else why would you want that? Like what is his position there to, for what? Like to rub your feet? Like that's also nice. But like I think a man's role within a, heterocentric relationship, like, I mean, like that's in the nuclear family.
These days, like women aren't getting it, like any of that.
No,
it's crazy to me.
No
Men
way.
have just
it's
relinquished
like,
all responsibility. They're like, yep.
They don't even message you like, let me know that you got home safely.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like the bare minimum, or like, let me, drop you home so I can make sure that you got home okay, and then wait in the car until you walk to your door.
Yeah.
Like bare minimum things are like, whoa,
No
these
doors
days.
Are being opened,
no doors are being opened.
Flowers are being bought.
No, like, there's no courting element.
Yeah.
There's no like, we can have a cry about gender roles as much as we want, but some people like them. And if that works for you, then I don't think, it's up to anyone to shame anyone. And
let us make our own decisions. I want to be able to say I want to be a stay-at-home mom who's going to be the best mom possible and have the best house possible and cook my husband all of the food without feeling like society, especially women, are going to come for me for wanting that. Like it's crazy to me.
And if you're in that kind of dynamic as a woman, I'm really interested. If you're like single and like ready to date or whatever it is, try the other way. Try the traditional way. Try, and I really want to know what happens. Try when you just like, you ask for things. You like ask to get taken care of. Like you are more feminine in that way. And then treat your partner in a way that's very nurturing, and just see that dynamic and see how you feel in that. I'm really interested to see, because I've done both.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up very conservative. I went to church every Sunday. I lived in I had a very traditional upbringing. I was never allowed to stay at someone's house. I was, you know,
Same.
my
It's
parents were
ethnic
very
way.
strict. And then I went the whole other way, and I was like super liberal in the open world. And then I've come back to home, I guess. And in that, I've realized, like, I'm not sure if it just feels so good to me because it's so familiar to me, but I think it just depends on what dynamic you like and what feels good for you. And if you're a man and you like to be a woman to pick you up and give you flowers and to make sure you get home safely, then that's amazing. I hope you find that. But if you're a man who likes to provide, likes to step up, likes to protect, and likes to have that kind of dynamic and have a woman be super nurturing to him and give him a family, birth his children.
Literally, the fact that we have to push a human out of our bodies, and it's like, I can't pick the check up, like, bro.
Like, wow, not me. But yes. So let's go into something a little bit more fun.
All right, we're going to play Would You Rather for relationships.
Let's do it.
Would you rather meet all your partner's exes or have them meet all of yours?
I only have one ex. So
Situationships, whatever, like blend them all in
okay.
for context.
Meet their exes?
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, I'd get along, like, hey girls, what's up? Yeah, I'd probably rather that. What about you?
I don't know. I think I would rather...
Aren't you so curious?
Yeah, that's
how these
true.
exes are like?
Yeah, yep. Also, I'm so ashamed of some of my exes, so I don't want my current boyfriend to know even, like, went anywhere near any of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely meet his, I would say.
Yeah.
And that way you can, I mean, like, not now, but back in the day, if I had met my ex's ex, I could have saved myself 9 months of heartache. Of, like, abuse.
She would have told you a lot.
Emotional abuse.
I know, you'd learn a lot, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
look out for the ex is like the biggest green or red flag. Because if the ex has traumatic things to obviously say about them, and obviously it can be a little tainted, but yeah, definitely do some.
okay, so we agree on that one.
Yeah. Would you rather be known as the psycho ex or have a psycho ex?
Be known as a psycho ex, because men will label you as that for anything, for having an opinion. They'll drive you crazy, and then when you're crazy, they'll be like, she's psycho.
Yeah.
Like, how did I get here, babe? Like, you know? So there's no winning. I don't care about my exes. They can view me as
definitely.
a queen
I agree
or
with you.
whatever. It makes no difference to my
I'm
life.
agreeing a lot on this, but I agree with you because I've had a psycho ex and, like, I don't want that ever again.
No.
And I'm sure he labels me as psycho. I'm sure he tells all of his friends that I was the crazy one, but let's be for real.
No.
Would you rather love someone who can't commit or be committed to someone that you don't truly love? Fuck, this is like Carrie. This is literally Aiden and Big.
I used to be the can't commit person.
Yeah, I know, but
So I think I've done that to people, and I don't think that that's like, just because I was like, I'm too young, I can't be in a relationship, I want to be, you know, by my husband.
So they either can't commit.
How can they not? Are they not committing in which way?
They're just non-committal.
So what? They're sleeping with other people?
They're not going to give you long-term commitment.
I can change that. I'm gonna go with that one because I'll change it. You know when girls say that, but like I truly believe that.
Yeah, I mean I don't know about that.
If they're my person, they're gonna commit.
But are they like this? Is they're saying they're non-committal. They're not going to give you what you want. You're going to end up like Harry, just like full.
Okay, then the other one. If it's
No,
never
going to
happen.
At the same time, I couldn't imagine living a life with someone I didn't truly, truly deep down in my soul, I knew that I didn't love them.
You could
That
grow
would be
into loving them
torture.
though.
Yeah, I guess.
And
you
also
can.
like
arranged
look at the
marriages
most
really prove that.
successful marriages.
Yeah,
It's not the ones that are
arranged.
built on love.
That's true.
So if this person is like a good man, a family man, he looks after you, he's a great father, he's a great partner. Like, babe, your life's going to be easy. What?
Yeah.
Or would you prefer to love someone so deeply who's the biggest headache of your life?
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, that love will disappear.
That's true.
You can't marry just for love. No. It's foolish to marry just for
And
love.
that's the way we've been raised.
Right?
It's crazy.
I don't think I was raised like that.
But like society.
Society.
Like
Western society for
movies,
sure.
Everything will teach you that there's this like massive love story, and it's amazing if you get it, but at the same time,
I think love is a major
component.
component, obviously, but it's not the only component.
Yeah.
Like you have to be
Because we know
smart,
it can be so
especially women. Like, you know, we have to marry a person who like fits a certain criteria, you know, that we still love and that we're attracted to and that we, you know, all of those things, but we can't do it based on love. Love is a fleeting feeling. It's going to like fluctuate so much. There's going to be times where you don't like, you hate them.
I think we should put this out to the audience. If you've married for love, I want to know like what your experience has been.
You need to be married based on values.
Yeah.
That needs to be the major component.
Which I think is what we struggle with these days because like not many people have a lot of strong values anymore.
Yeah. Would you rather be with, this is a tough one, a really feminine guy, really agreeable,
Yeah, I know what you're going to say on the other end.
really soft, or like super macho?
And I can't take anywhere in the middle. It's one or the other.
It's a scenario, babe. You got to choose one.
This is where we're going to differ because I'm going to say soft because I can't stand. But we're talking macho like toxic.
It doesn't have to be toxic. Just
Oh,
like
well then
soft.
no,
They're
it's
both
not
toxic,
toxic.
babe. Just know the soft guy is toxic. Both ends on extremes are toxic.
Yeah.
Trust me, the soft guy is
But we're
more
talking
insidious.
macho to the point of being like super toxic. Because I think when you're at that point of
He's
being
not
so
like
macho-
punching you and hurting you.
Yeah.
He's just not someone that maybe you're going to have like, who's not going to be like super empathetic.
Fuck, that's hard for me because I am like the most emotional creature.
Like he's not going to really understand your emotions in the same way. The other person will, but with a soft man comes just insidious, sinister. Like that type of man is the worst type of man to me.
This is really, really hard.
Give me the macho man. Let's do it. For me. I mean, I don't want that, but I prefer it.
I don't know if I could survive with macho, like super. Man, this is like not to shame my boyfriend. He's very masculine, but we're talking about hyper macho. I'm going to have to go the softie.
This is very sugar and spice. So you're married to a man and you have an argument with his mom,
Yeah.
and then his mother tells him to sit down and you tell him to go to the car. What do you want him to do? Like, what do you think is like the...
Go to the car.
Yeah.
100%. Sorry, if you're still listening to your mum and we're married, like that to me is the ultimate, like a mama's boy. It makes me feel sick. That was, my ex routine. It was disgusting. You know which one I'm talking about. Okay, X for men when they can't plan the date and they're asking you questions on like where to go.
My God.
And like
People make this whole date thing seem like
Yeah.
it's like the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, just
like
like
how, what am I
find a
going to do?
restaurant.
Find a restaurant, get a piece of grass land and get a blanket, put on it, go to Coles, get some olives, bit of ciabatta, bit of cheese and call it a day. Like these
I
people,
know. I don't want to
make
be
it
involved
seem-
in the plan. I know we did this in the first episode, but it's like it's such an ick when you can't just fucking plan the day. Plan the day.
just like planning things in general. When men need so much guidance to do the bare minimum, I'm like it's
Ick.
such an ick.
Such a turn off.
And babes,
Yeah.
you can be as selective as you want. Like it's people make it seem like you're owed people your body or like your time. Like this is the one thing with element of life. Like be judgmental. See what it is and see what you're getting. Especially when you're young. Like you have the space to be judgmental. And this for me, it's like what is a relationship without value? And I was raised with a certain set of values. And if you don't share those values, then you don't share those values.
What I love about this too is like everyone's got such an opinion on like you're not allowed to be like you can't be picky and you can't have all these like discernments, but you're not like dating the person I am, so I
Yeah.
can like have as many
This guy
criteria as
commented-
I want. It's wild.
I made this TikTok and it was like behind every confident woman is a man that has never said no to her or something
Yeah.
like that. And then there was these middle-aged men, like dads, what's going on? Like
Were they commenting?
Commenting,
on it?
being
No
like-
way.
being like, I would stay far away from you. Babes, do you think you could get close to me? And then
I
someone
need to
was
find
like,
this.
someone was like saying something about my dad. And I'm like, babe, this was on Sunday last week. I was saying like, I'm getting ready to go to church with my dad. Where's your dad? Is he in a nursing home? Like, you know, like, babes.
Okay, so because you've got standards. Oh, so a spoiled, high expectation, self-centered lady. What a prize and someone else's problem because you have standards.
Men would love a woman without standards, wouldn't they? It's like the worst thing that a woman could be is someone who had like was raised by a strong man behind her and is going to call out your shit. Like I'm not so easily impressed maybe because my dad showed me those things. My brother showed me those things. There were men in my life that did it before you.
God forbid you have standards.
God forbid, like, you know, you should be taking the bare minimum. Like this guy paying 50% of the bill, like, oh my God, I'm so lucky to be sharing space with him.
Oh my God. haha, you mean to right behind every spoiled brat, and you go, the white men seem mad. Fuck, that's funny.
Yeah, it's like, babe, like, why are you guys so mad? And it's fine. Like, I don't need to explain this shit to men from my culture. They get it. Like,
oh my God, this is an ick in itself. Men who feel the need to like comment and troll you, like, bro, go to work. Like, why are you trolling my TikTok? I'm a in my late 20s girl. You're some like 50-year-old man. Like, what are you doing?
it's very weird.
No.
It's very weird. Also, yeah. It's very strange. But like men from my culture, they get it. They like understand, you know, like that's the way of, and it's fine. Like there's cultural differences to relationship dynamics. And what?
What if you don't have a dad asking for a friend? Me.
But there's different cultural dynamics, and that's great. And everyone does what they want to do. And that's why I'm like, if you shame the way in which I see relationships, you're essentially just shaming my culture, which is fine. You have your way, I have my way. But I'm here to shame yours too. Like, let's just shame each other. Let's just build this prejudice wall where...
I don't know if this is an ick. When men literally can't find anything. Hey babe, where's this? I'm like, it is right in front of you. If you just like, I don't know if it's an ick, but it's fucking funny because I see my dad do it, or my stepdad. I see my boyfriend do it. It's just like they lose all inability to
see things. Open their eyes.
Boring,
They're
like,
like, where's the woman?
This is like, I don't know if that's boring, but I think it's fucking hilarious. All right, guys, we are done for today.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
We have many more episodes coming. We're back. We're not going anywhere.
No. And
that's it.
yay.
Bye.